Welcome to day one of the 10 by 10 by 10 challenge, or 10 appointments from 10 missed calls in just 10 days. Today is going to be an easy day, right? Today we're just going to learn about the software. We're going to get you signed up. We're going to get your free account, your free trial started, and we're going to get you actually talking to your AI receptionist, okay? So if you haven't done it yet, go to localbusiness.pro and you're gonna see a website exactly like this, okay? So by the end of this video, you're gonna be able to put on your website a chat widget where you can talk to and it will respond. You're gonna be able to pick up the phone and call your AI receptionist and talk to it and start testing, right? And that's gonna set up the success for the next couple of days, because you're gonna be able to know, oh, I don't like that it said that, or I wanted to say this instead, and that's what we're gonna do over the next couple of days, right? So we're gonna do a lot today, but it's gonna go quick, right? It's gonna go really quick. Okay, so I'm gonna click on try for free at the top, and that's gonna take me to our sign up page. And what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna put in Keaton, and what it's going to do right away is gonna take you to our wizard. Now, this wizard, there's 7 steps here, and it's gonna take you from the very beginning of who's your business, right? What is your business? What is it about? All the way to where you're selecting a voice, everything like that, okay? So this is step 1. It's super simple. Let's dive in, okay? So on screen number 1 that we see here, this is for us. This is for Local Business Pro, so we know how to call you, right? We know how to, in an email that we send you, we know your first name, right? So I'm gonna put this out. This is your account information, so I'm just gonna go and put this in. And in this test scenario, right, I'm just gonna say pest control. Right? So my name of my pest control business, I'll just call it like Pete's Pest Control. Okay? And so my industry, I'm gonna put in pest control. Now you might be thinking like industry, like what does this mean? So your AI receptionist is an expert already because it's consumed most of the internet. It knows all about every industry out there. So this industry gives context, right? Because if I was a office receptionist for a nail salon, my skill set is going to be very different if I was an office receptionist for a tattoo parlor. The questions I'm going to be answering, what I'm doing is very different, right? And so this, what is your industry, kind of rounds it out. So you might be thinking like, wait a minute, I'm like a clothing store that does like boutique women's high fashion clothing. Write that down, right? Write down the description, like what industry are you part of? It's pretty, if it's not perfect, we can go and change it after, right? So that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna put in our phone number. I'm just gonna write one. That's a fake phone number right there. And then your password. Account details, done. Now what we're talking about is the information that your AI receptionist is going to give to your customers, right? So someone calls in and they say, what's your website? This is your website URL, right? So we have Pete's Pest Control in my example. Just write that down. Public email, do I want that? Is that my personal email I'm giving out there, or is it a public, right? Same thing with that phone number. I don't want my personal cell phone to go out to everybody. I want my business line to go out. But if you don't have one, put your personal cell phone, right? Just go. Okay. And then your time zone. Super important when it comes to booking appointments, right? Okay, your hours. I'm gonna leave this the same, but you can go into here and you can say, hey, we close at 11:30. We open at in the morning. We're open 24/7. We're closed that day. You guys will be able to go in between Monday to Sunday and adjust that. Okay, street address. Again, hey, what are your guys' address? I want to come and visit. Put in your address here. Or if you are an owner operator and you're running from your house and you're doing operations, right? You go to the customer's house. Just simply click, I don't have an address. Okay? Now, we service all of. Now, if you're a business that is national, right, we service all of the United States. And this is so that when your receptionist, someone calls in, let's say that you're in Dallas, Texas, and someone calls in and they're like, hey, and someone's calling in from New York and they're like, hey, I'm in New York. We don't want your receptionist to book a time slot that someone else can actually grab, right? Because that's going to leave a customer frustrated. They're going to go to Google and leave you a bad review. So your AI receptionist will actually say, hey, I'm sorry, we only service Dallas, we don't service New York, right? So in this case, I'm gonna put we service all of Utah. Okay, now this block right here, take a minute, pause this video, take a minute to go over this, because all of these other questions are gonna go off of this block. Now we generated this based off of the information you've already provided. But it doesn't have to be perfect, but just make sure it's actually describing your business and change it up because, again, your services, your sales logic, all that's going to be based off of this. So I'll give you guys a minute, push pause, jump in. Okay, you're back, unpaused. Okay, let's keep going. So what would you want your AI voice to sound like? So right here, you can go and click on sample. So let's go ahead, and one of my favorites is, I'll tell you guys right now at the time of recording, Tim is a favorite, Bella, Terry, and Mike and Scott. All right, those are the most favorite here. Oh, Grandpa Joe's great, right? So let's just listen to Grandpa Joe for a minute.
Hey there. My name is Grandpa Joe, and I'm from Southeast Idaho. I would love to voice your AI receptionist.
So I actually, it's not quite my grandpa, but Grandpa Joe's based off of my grandpa. Love that guy. So you can click around, click on the AI voice that you want. We've got some that are with heavy accents, like Felix, he's German. Some that are like Old West cowboys. Pick the one that you think is best. So I'm just going to go with Tim here. I'm going to next. And now maybe I don't want to name Tim Tim. Maybe I think Tim is a really boring name. Cool, change it. All right, you can change it to whatever you'd like here. And when we get to the office role below that, is that imagine that I go to Indeed or LinkedIn or wherever and I post a job for an office receptionist versus a sales manager. Those people are going to have a very different approach to common problems, right? So if I go into here and I write sales manager, then my AI receptionist is going to be more sales oriented. It's going to be really good at sales. But if I just say like office manager, then it's going to be more business operations, right? So really have fun with this. Put whatever you want and whatever you think is going to be best for your AI receptionist. Does that make sense? Okay, awesome. So now when we're looking at this next step, it's your sales logic, okay? The biggest misconception inside of our software that we're working really hard to fix is that how do I take a massive business that has so many unique traits to it and how do I water it down so that my AI receptionist can be organized with information and successfully do what I want? And the way we found out how to do that is with micro steps or a high level overview and then a specific overview. So with your sales flow logic, right, there's two levels that we want to think of. We want to think of like that high level macro overview. And then later, not now, not on the sales flow logic stage, we want to think about the specific details, right? Because our challenge is all of the quirks, all of the cool things about your business that you want your AI receptionist to convey to your customers. We've got to be able to fit both of those in. And the way we've done that is that your sales flow and your current logic, customer flow here, those are actually your high level overviews of how your receptionist should follow the path. Okay. Now, does that mean that it's going to be very robotic and very like it has to do A before B and before C? No, right? Our AI reception is actually programmed much like we are as humans, where we can change and we can think about things and we can analyze new information, right? And so under the hood, there's actually 4 different AI models going on inside of Local Business Pro. We have the one that takes your voice and turns it into text. Then we have the one, much like ChatGPT, that takes the text and generates the response. And then we have the one that takes the text and turns it back into audio to play. But there's actually one more, and this is a proprietary, meaning that we custom built it, AI model that will actually take that information that's coming in and change the prompt to best fit your business goals. Right? So that doesn't mean that it has to do A, B, and C, and D, but it's going to find the best way to your goal, which could be something like booking an appointment, right? Or something like that. So when you think about that and you go through it, there's a story where we had a pest control company in Austin, Texas, and someone called in at like 3 a.m. and bless this guy's heart, right? Like he just seemed like he was doing his best, or he was probably really drunk, or there was drugs involved. I don't know. But he called in, and the thickest Texan accent, where a lot of the time I couldn't even understand what he was saying, but our AI receptionist did. And basically he was claiming that he had a rat in his house, and this rat was sleeping in his bed, was making him his parent, the rat's parent, right? And he's like, I'm not crazy, I just want this rat gone. And so based off of the schedule that the business told us, the AI receptionist booked an appointment for the next morning, and the guy's like, no, I want it right now. I want you guys to come over right now at 2 or 3 in the morning. And the during this whole story, I mean, this guy was going left, this guy was going right, talking literally about sleeping in its bed, all this crazy stuff. And our AI followed the customer and guided the customer to that goal, which was booking an appointment, right? But this guy didn't like that it was 9 in the morning the next day. He wanted it at 4 in the morning right then. He didn't want to wait the extra 5 hours. So he asked, hey, can I transfer to a human? Right? So our AI actually transferred him to the call center, and the call center could not understand him and actually hung up on that user. Now, this is a rat inside of someone's home. For a pest control company, right, depending on where you are in the nation, that's anywhere from like a couple $100, like $350, all the way up to like $1,000 to get that done. That's an amazing job opportunity that was lost, right? And our system was able to handle it, was able to go all the way around and go to that goal, right? So when you guys are writing these, okay, make sure you're thinking high level. I want you to do A, B, C, D first, but know that it's not going to be robotic, right? So let's go take a look at these sales flow here. So answer the phone with a friendly greeting, starting your business, stating the business name and your name. Okay, so if I'm a pest control company, I'm gonna say, like, by the way, you do have a voice that says like, hey, thanks for calling Pete's Pest Control, right? So this is after that initial greeting. And so I'm gonna ask them, I'm gonna say, ask what their pest concern is and how long they have been experiencing the issue. Then ask the caller's first name to establish a personal connection. Okay, I'm gonna delete that personal connection stuff. Just ask for the caller's first name, ask for the caller's last name to properly document the interaction. Just do the last name. Request the caller's phone number in case of disconnection or follow-up. Now that's where I'm gonna keep this. Instead of just like ask this, I'm gonna actually keep in there in case of a disconnection, because what that's going to do is that when that user is talking to the AI and the AI is like, hey, can I get your phone number in case we get disconnected, right? It's going to make it to where it's not just like, well, you have my phone number because I called in, but it's gonna make it to where there's more context that the AI can pull from if that user's like, why do you need my phone number? Oh, because in case we get disconnected, or to have our team follow up with you, right? I'm adding in additional context. It's pretty cool. Okay. Inquire about the services, address to ensure that falls within the company's service area. Ask the caller to briefly describe the pest issue or concern, excuse me. If the caller issue is clear, suggest a relevant service based off of Pete's Pest Control, offered by Pete's Pest Control. So that's where later on the services tab, we're gonna go into the micro, right? So I don't need to go in here and say if it's an ant in the kitchen, if it's a rodent, like what that call was with the guy in Texas, right? I don't need to go into like specific detail there, because I'll add those services later. I'm staying high level, I'm staying macro, right? So if the caller is unsure or has multiple issues, ask how you can assist them further. Okay, so if the caller is unsure, I'm just gonna delete that one. Inquire if the caller would like information about the treatment process, or go into pricing before booking an appointment. Okay, so sometimes in some of your businesses, you guys want it to talk to the AI, explain what's going on, right? This is where you would be like, explain the process, ask them if they have any questions about the process. And this, in pest control, what we found out is some people, because it's bugs, they're gross, some people just want someone in their house right away. Other people want to know about the process. Maybe they're a little bit more price conscious, right? And so here, I'm asking them, hey, do you want to know more about the process, or do you want to go into pricing before we book an appointment? I'm letting the user decide, okay? If the caller is interested in pricing, provide a brief overview of the pricing structure for the relevant service. For booking an appointment, ask the caller's preferred day and time of the week. Collect all necessary details and schedule an appointment, providing confirmation of the service and next steps. And then I'll say, thank the customer for calling and let them know that they can always reach out to add additional information about their appointment. Okay, awesome. Okay, so that's the sales logic. Now we're gonna do current customer logic. So when someone's calling, and what we do is we first say, okay, is this a current customer or is this a new customer? If it's a new customer, we follow that sales logic that we just did. If it's a current customer, we're gonna follow a different process, right? Because maybe you don't want your AI selling new customer appointments to current customers because maybe there's a discount difference. I don't know. Maybe you just, it's follow-up appointments, right? You just wanna handle them differently, right? So on here, ask for the customer's first name, last name, phone number in case of a disconnection. Ask how you can assist them and the reason for the calling. If the customer is calling to schedule a service, ask for their preferred date and time for technician to visit their property. Let them know that the appointment isn't confirmed yet, but you'll pass along the information to the office staff who can call back for the exact appointment time. If a customer has a concern with the previous service, so this is where I can add stuff in here, right? If they're calling because they're trying to get a reservice, right? Because maybe our technicians in our imaginary pest control company went out there and sprayed, but no one, the pest issue didn't go away, right? So maybe they're calling for a free reservice, right? So you can break that down and kind of like if this, then that, and just do those steps all the way through. Okay. So now comes to our services, okay? We just did the macro, right? We just did the high level overview on sales and customer support. Now what we're going to do is go into the individual services. So let's go in and set that up now. So based off of that initial description and everything so far, we actually took a list of what are all the possible services that this business would offer, okay? Now for the sake of the time, I'm only gonna do 2, but please go through and click all of those that apply to you. Now I'm gonna do rodent control because we just talked about that story in Texas, and I'm gonna do ant control because it's not a, it's a pest, but it's not as gross as some of the other ones out here. Okay, so I can decide rodent control or ant control. I'm gonna do ants first. Okay, general overview. So when that customer is calling in and they say, well, can you tell me about your ant control service? This is like a quick 1 or 2 seconds that the AI is going to use to actually respond to that user, right? So ant control services involve identifying entry points, sealing holes, and removing ants from homes and businesses. Our experienced technicians use eco-friendly solutions to ensure a safe and ant-free environment. Pretty good overview there. Okay, now when I'm on the phone and I need to actually do that service, I need to be thinking about like what information do I need to collect so that this can be successful, right? And so I need their first name and last name, right? I need their phone number. I need their address, including city, state, and zip code, so I can make sure it's within my service area. Type of ant problem. So most users don't know if they have carpenter ants, pavement ants, odorous ants, which are pavement ants, I think. They don't really know that. And so I'm gonna say description of their ant infestation. Okay. Property type, is it residential, commercial? Is it rental, multifamily? Number of stories in the building, that's not that important. Type of foundation, I don't really care about that. Presence of pests or children in the household. Eco-friendly products at Pete's Pest Control, don't need to know that one either. Okay, so this is, if someone calls in and says, I have an ant problem, these are the additional questions, and first name, last name, email address, phone number, and service address. That was all taken care of on the macro, so it's not gonna ask them again. It's smart enough to know that. But so it's gonna just collect the description of the ant infestation and their property type. Okay, so now this right here, this detailed process overview. Let's say that someone's calling in for the ant problem and we're talking to them on the phone and they say, well, can you just tell me about what you guys are gonna do? This is a step-by-step so that they can feel like, man, if that customer wants a lot of information, the AI can give a lot of information. But if you guys are like, I don't want the AI to talk to my services here, right? Delete all of these, all right? Delete XXXX and just do 1 and then say, a business representative will call you back with details to your questions, right? And that's when someone's asking the AI a specific question, That's how the AI is going to respond, is what you put in that one slot, right? For a detailed process overview, a business representative can call you back and give you those details, or put them here and the AI can take that off your plate, okay? So for pest control and ants, on-site assessment, licensed pest control technician, okay, it's going to give you an assessment, infestation evaluation, customized strategy, perimeter treatment, nest eradication, sealing entry points, baiting and trapping, schedule and follow-up, reinspection, customer report. That's a pretty good detailed overview. If that customer is like, well, do you guys target the nest? It's going to talk about it, right? It's pretty cool. Okay. So this right here is where, is there anything like service exclusions? Is there anything that you guys don't do that normally would be expected? Okay. So for example, a lot of people, we're going to talk about pests because we're doing a Pete's Pest Control one. If this was a bed bug one, a lot of businesses that are pest control companies don't do heat treatments because that's expensive. It takes a long time. And instead they do chemical treatments. And so, but a lot of people that are calling in, they don't like the chemical treatments because of the name chemical. So they always ask for heat treatments. And so instead, this would be where you would add, if this was a bed bug treatment instead of ant control, this is where I would go in there and I would add in there that we don't do heat treatments because of this. And we add that. That way, if someone's on the phone and the AI is like, and someone asks the AI, hey, do you guys, what kind of treatments do you do? They'll be able to say not heat. Or if they say, hey, do you guys do heat treatments? They'll be able to say, no, we don't because of this, right? Now, if you leave that blank, the AI is just going to guess. And the AI is going to be like, yeah, we do heat treatments, or no, we don't. So don't leave that up to the AI to decide. Put in some service exclusions, right? Okay, I'm gonna leave that blank for ant control because there's nothing there. Now, service pricing. Now, this one's actually pretty cool. Now, because I know you guys have some advanced pricing, or sometimes it's very simple and it's like, hey, it's X amount of money no matter what. This screen right here is gonna actually help you guys determine how to do that pricing. So, first things first, should your receptionist provide pricing? If the answer is no, click no. But some customers are gonna be like, well, what, like, can I get the price? What should you say instead when that question is asked? And that's what you're gonna write here. But if you wanna give pricing, we actually have 3 different types of pricing we can give. Now, that first one is exact pricing. And what that means is that it's, like, how much is this coffee, right? If I go to Beans and Brews like I did this morning, they don't have a menu that varies. It's an exact price every day. So I would put in that exact price. Now, for pest control, you have different size of homes, right? So I might do variable-based pricing, and I could say if the home is below 2,100 square feet, right? So if the home square footage is less than this value, then the price equals this. And I can keep adding these estimates in here. Or I can give a price range. And I can say, like, on the low end, it's going to be, I don't know, we'll say $100 for this. And on the high end, it's going to be $300. Okay. So that kind of goes over our pricing and why you guys would want to use those differently. Okay. So on this one, is an inspection required? Now, if you're a nail salon, no, you're not going to their house, right? But if you're a roofing company, the answer would be yes. And so if the answer is yes, put in the details about the inspection. If the answer is no, that's totally fine. Okay, now we're talking about appointment details. This is how your AI is going to make sure that everything is scheduled to your calendar. Now, you might be thinking, well, how do I get my calendar connected? We're gonna do that later in the challenge, but this is just how to think about it. Now, if you're a carpet cleaning business, you might have an arrival window, right? And so I'm gonna select arrival window. How long is your arrival window? About 2 hours. And then how long is the actual appointment, right? So I have 2 hours here, but my actual appointment is 1 hour and 30 minutes, and I'm letting people schedule same day. So if they call and it's Monday morning at 9 a.m., then if this is set to same day, then the AI receptionist will schedule for 3 p.m. the same day. Now, if you don't have enough routes to go all the way around and to make sure you can accommodate that, don't put same day, put next day, or schedule a little bit more out if you need time based off your business operations, right? So I'm gonna put in next day on this. Okay, ant pest control is done. Now we're gonna do the exact same thing with rodent. Go through your list and complete that, okay? I'm going to click on set up the rest later because we don't need to see that tutorial again, right? Okay, so now we're almost done. We've got the sales logic, we've got the current customer logic, we've got all of our service logic. Now we've got to start your free trial. So it's a 14-day free trial, okay? We have plans that range. So if you really are a business that's like, I only miss like 20 calls, you can adjust your price after, right? This is just the most standard for people. It's around that $250 price. How pricing works is by the minute, okay? So you can think of it like the old school, like early 2000s, AT&T, Verizon, your phone companies where you'd purchase pre-sold minutes and you'd get those for the month. And if you didn't use them, they would expire. If you went over them, then you would get charged per minute. It's the exact same thing here. So for about $250, our phone calls on average last 4 to 5 minutes. So it's averaging about 145 calls in that price range during that time. But we charge per minute. It's actually per second because we don't want to accidentally, charge you guys too much or anything like that. And you guys can adjust this later. So for the sake of this challenge, let's go in, fill this out, 14-day free trial. You're gonna be able to meet with our team, continue this during the AI receptionist setup and training. There's no contracts, right? Cancel whenever you want. And again, dedicated support. So if you guys are wondering like, well, what happens if I forget to cancel? Reach out to us, right? We'll refund you, right? We want to help your business grow. We're not going to grow our business by taking pennies when people forget to cancel, right? We're going to grow our business by actually helping people grow their business, right? So if it's not right for you guys after this challenge and it goes a little over, we'll refund you. Absolutely. We want to see your business grow. Okay. So I'm going to push pause here and I'm going to put on this card so that I can go to the next step. Awesome. Now we're going to select your phone number. So you might be thinking, wait a minute, I already have a business phone number. Exactly. This is not to replace your phone system, right? So there's something called conditional call forwarding. So that means that if you don't answer the phone, instead of going to voicemail, you can actually forward to another line. Or on nights and weekends, you know that your team's not there, you can forward automatically depending on your phone system, your business system, right? So let's select a local business pro phone number so that you can connect your business line to your AI receptionist. So sometimes, like for example, 212, that's Manhattan, and there's probably not going to be any phone numbers for it. So if that happens here, it's probably, maybe you're in Atlanta and you're using that area code there and it's taken, use one around it, right? So in Utah, it's 801, the one that's normally taken. Now they're starting to show up, so they might pop up. Not that one. What I can do instead is 435, which is still a Salt Lake City, Utah number, and there's a lot more phone numbers that I can pick from, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and select this one right here. And there it is. We're all set up. You guys can talk to Tim, right? Or whoever the AI receptionist that you chose, okay? So congratulations, okay? This is freaking awesome that you made it this far. It took about 30 minutes like I was gonna suggest. A little longer if you were setting up all those services, right? And one thing to know is that your AI is probably 80% there. It's not going to be 100% perfect because we did a general wizard overview to do 80% of the work, but now what we get to do and what we're going to do on day 2 is actually go in and test the AI receptionist, right? Call it, talk to it, and make sure that it's handling every situation right. And then tomorrow and the next days, when it doesn't handle a certain situation correctly, I'm actually going to teach you how to change it so that you can make sure that you get your AI receptionist set up so you get 10 appointments from 10 missed calls in 10 days. Okay, day 1 is over. Congratulations, guys. Call your AI receptionist, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.